Hey YouTube! So today I'll be making Filipino Spanish bread for my fermentation project today. So let's get started. So for the dough, for the Filipino Spanish bread, we have 3 cups of flour, 1 and 1/2 tablespoons of instant dry yeast, 1/4 of cup sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 3/4 of cup milk, and 3 tablespoons of butter that is melted, and lastly 1 egg. So for the filling for the Filipino Spanish bread, you have 1/4 cup of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, 1/8 cup of milk or water, 1/2 cup of brown sugar/white sugar, 1/8 cup of tablespoon salt, and butter for the brushing. Last, for the breading, we have 2 tablespoons of milk and 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Make sure you grab a big bowl and add your 3 cups of flour. Now you add your 1 and 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. In a smaller bowl, we are adding 1/4 cup of sugar. Now you take 1 teaspoon of salt. You take the 3/4 cups of milk. Then you put it into the microwave for 1 minute. While waiting, you want to put your 3 tablespoons of butter into a cup so it can be heated next. Now that the milk is done, you pour it into the bowl, the small bowl. Now you take the butter, put it in the microwave for 1 minute as well. Now the butter has been melted. Then you pour the hot butter into the bowl as well. You crack the egg. Then you stir until it's Next you pour the mixture into the flour. And then you fold until the dough is formed. The reason why the yeast is being used is because it allows the dough to rise by the CO2 the yeast is producing. When adding the sugar and warm liquids, it provides nutrients for the yeast so the CO2 could be released. You knead the dough and dust it with flour until it becomes smooth and elastic, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Now forming the dough into a ball, it will be placed in a grease bowl. To grease the bowl, I'm using canola oil. Now you put the bowl into a warm area. It depends on how warm the area is. It will take 30 minutes to an hour. Meanwhile, while the dough is rising, I'll be making the filling. First, you have to take your 1/4 cup of butter, putting the stove on to medium and low heat while it melts. Adding 2 teaspoons of flour. Now you mix until it's well done. Once the filling starts to boil, add your 1/8 cup of milk or water. Now you add the rest of the breadcrumbs. Now you stir until it's paste-like. After the dough is finished rising, you'll take the dough and punch it down. I'm also rolling it out, just to flip it. Now you divide the dough into 16 equally parts. Rolls into a small triangle, kind of like a pizza slice. Now I will butter the dough and add the filling to it. Now you have to roll from the very pointy top into like a dough roll. Now you take the milk and brush it onto the roll, and then you put it into the breadcrumb, only on the top. Then you place it on a baking sheet. Now we'll let the dough rise for about 10 to 15 minutes. After it's risen again, you will have to preheat the oven to 300. After it's done preheating, I place the rolls into the oven for 20 minutes. The finished product.